Hello, everybody, and welcome to the podcast. I am super excited to be here with Aurelie Couble, and we are going to be talking about all things business and music. And I'm excited to talk to her because we clearly have a lot of similar ideas around musicians and business and not, subscribing to the starving artist mentality and all of that. But before we get into that, I would love to know, Orally, like, how did you get to where you are now? Like a little review of your journey. I know you've done production and you work with musicians as a coach. Like, how did you
Mhm.
get there?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, thank you for having me. Really, really excited. And yeah, I started my journey in 2021. So it's been a bit over 5 years now. And I started from zero. I had absolutely no
Mm.
idea what a DAW was. I didn't know how to make music. So I launched myself into this new creative hobby. And I had always wanted to do a YouTube channel. So I figured, why not? I read a book by Gary Vee called Crushing It, I think. And in it, he said, document, don't create. So I just figured I'm about to start something new. Let's document the journey on YouTube. And one thing turned into another. It actually started to work out. I started standing out on YouTube because I was also talking about some mindset, self development, which other people in this space were not talking about. And then people started to come to me so at first I was just doing documenting how I learned music, so it kind of turned into music education, almost like production tutorials. But then people started to come to me asking how I grew a YouTube channel as a music producer, how I grew an Instagram like that, and how I was monetizing. And so one thing turned into another, and I actually became a music business coach to help music artists, anyone really, like producers, musicians, composers, DJs, engineers, on how to leverage content on social media to get themselves clients, or sell sample packs, digital products, and just make a business out of their passion. So that's how it all worked out over the last 5 years.
That's really cool. And
Yeah.
I definitely want to dig into YouTube for
Mm-hmm.
sure. I want to dig into all of this. But first, I wanted to find out a little bit about your background. Like, were you a
Yeah.
performing musician? Did you go to college for music?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So I was like, those like shower singers, as you
Mm.
call them. So when I was like really, really small, like, a kid, I was in a choir. I was like, in my school, every time we would do a play, I was like the lead singer because they thought I had the best voice. And I liked singing, and I was also doing some music theory classes, music notes and things like that. And I think when I was like, I don't know, maybe 6, 8 or something, they wanted me to do piano lessons. But because I was a very rebellious kid, very stubborn, you tell me to do one thing and I'm going to do the exact opposite. So I was like, nope, I'm going to go and do sports. So I let go of this music thing and I just went into sports like crazy. I just went into like competition, tennis, soccer, basketball, anything that you want, like just sports. And it wasn't until I was like 16 that I picked up a guitar again to try to do some actual music again, because I still had that inkling, of wanting to make music. I Every single night when I was a teenager growing up, like I was staying up until, I don't know, sometimes like 3 a.m. on a school night, dancing and singing in my room, like literally, playing the guitar on like Justin Bieber's song, like that was me when I was a teenager. And so I always had that deep want of doing music. I was dreaming about having my own tracks on Spotify and things like that, but I was also very I left France. I'm from France, and I left France because I always felt like a bit misunderstood, and so I was very afraid of the judgment from other people. So, telling them that I wanted to sing and make my own songs, it was too scary for me. So I always kept this as a very like deep secret. And so, nothing really happened until when I was 25 years old, moved to Vancouver, and I was, in my career, so I was a visual effects artist for movies, aka why I was interested in YouTube, movies,
Hmm.
video. And I was at a spot where I was happy, so I didn't have to work overtime. I had my weekends, so I had all of that free time, and that's when also I was like less intimidated by people's judgment. And so that's when I was like, you know what? I'm going to go for it because I've always wanted to do this thing that I said I would do, but I never have yet. So that's when I started to get really more into the music, and that's when I started to downloading a DAW. I got a Kaigo masterclass, actually. That's how I started on like my month 1 of making music. And so, yeah, after that, I became like a music producer, just producing music for myself. I've produced some for others. I've dabbled with like, some mixing services, some digital products there. Like I tried to monetize a few different ways until this actually turned into this whole Music Creator Academy that I have now. But yeah, that's kind of like the background. So just like a deep, dark secret of like wanting to make music, but never actually did until I was like, mentally strong enough to not be afraid of judgment from other people. So yeah.
I see a lot of artists with that situation.
Oh, yeah.
They a lot of them don't want to tell their friends and family because they can't handle the rejection. So then they try to like convert complete strangers. And I'm like, that's a million times harder than getting your friends and family.
It's funny that you're saying this because when I started my YouTube channel for that music thing, only at the time I was living at my in-laws. And so only them, my fiance now, and my parents knew about it. No one else knew. Literally none of my friends, none of my family knew that. I just kept it for myself because I didn't want to hear oh, you want to do the YouTube thing? Really? Like all of that stuff. So I just did my own thing.
Yeah, they'll be like, oh, that's a nice little dream you have. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, so did the pandemic play a role here? Because you said you had a job, and did you decide to leave your job during the pandemic, or how did that work?
No. Actually, I was like, I started this YouTube channel on the side of my 9 to 5. Like I've done both for 2+ years until it was too much, and one or the other had to go. It was January 2023. I asked my job if I could reduce my working hours to like a 4-day or 3.5, something like this. They said no. So a day later, they had my resignation letter. Because at this point, like I was already making like half the income I needed to live. Sorry. Which, doing that on the side, I was like, if I do this full time, I can double that technically and make a full-time income that I need. And so I just decided to bet on myself. That January was a hard month because I was about to burn out. I was very, very stressed of leaving my 9 to 5 job because I thought I was like pretty much nuking my career, that I had worked for so hard in the past. So yeah, it took a lot of conversations with my family and friends, which all were super supportive. And so with that, I decided to bet on myself, and I think it took me 6 months until I had a full-time income.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
And I want to highlight that, like, in my opinion, you did it the smart way, because I think there's kind of this idea where it's like, oh, I need to just throw everything else out, like no plan B. I just need to jump in and do it because otherwise I won't do it. And there's something to be said for that mindset, but there's not something to be said for the fact that you have no safety net. And then you start to kind of operate in this desperation
out of fear.
mode.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, for sure. That's also not what I recommend to my students. Like they can absolutely do it on the side of a 9 to 5 or like a part-time job so that they at least have what they need. And yeah, because like when you're afraid or you feel unsafe and desperate, as you said, you're just not going to take the right decisions. And so you're not going to build the right things for yourself. So it's definitely better. And
Yep. And I think that like the people that I work with, like I work a lot with older women over 40. And for them, like this is a real doable thing because a lot of them are, they're raising kids, or some of them are going into retirement and stuff. And so they're not having to worry about that. I have to replace my full-time income kind of thing.
Yeah. That's good. That's an advantage for sure.
Yeah.
And also I think like from what I hear on like my audience, which is a little bit younger, I guess, like 25, 35, mostly male as well, just because I came from that music producer, background on the YouTube, it's more they're like, like, oh, I can't because of the job, I can't because of my 9 to 5, and I'm like, I made it work because I needed to get out of it. Like I used it as a reason why, like as a fuel, not as an excuse, right?
Yep.
And so that's where I got my fuel. I was like, I need to get out. Like, I want to do my own thing. I don't want to have a boss again. Like, I liked my job. It was great. It was creative. Like, honestly, I didn't have to complain at all. But I wanted to have a bigger impact in people's lives. I wanted to be on my own, like, without a boss. And yeah, I just used it as a fuel, not as an excuse.
Yeah, I think that's such a good thing you just highlighted. It's like you can be happy in your job, but if you don't feel like this burning urge to do what you're doing, or you don't
Yeah.
you want that freedom of time and all that stuff, like that's the reason to become an entrepreneur. And so you kind of have to look at yourself like I know because I have two kids, like I think one of them is really entrepreneurial and one of them isn't.
Yep.
And I can see like the one who's not, like she just would feel very, very uncomfortable being an entrepreneur and running a business. And
Oh,
she would
yeah.
just feel much more comfortable
My fiance
being
is the
in her
same.
place, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I think some people are made for it, some people aren't. I've noticed as well some people that tried and they're like, you know what? Because like they love their 9 to 5 too much. They love that security, and they're like, you know what? It's not worth it. But for me, I was like, I need to get out. I hate that. Like
Yep.
I
And
didn't
it's
hate
it's
the
totally
job,
okay, right?
but I
Those
hated
people,
the 9 to 5 mentality.
hmm those people that are not built to be
Oh yeah,
entrepreneurs, that's totally fine. Like it can be a great
absolutely,
fun hobby and maybe you can make a little money on the side.
exactly, absolutely.
Cool. Well, okay, so I'm really curious about the YouTube side. Well, actually, first of all, I do want to say I hope that you inspire more women in the production side. I've been working with women for
Yeah.
years trying to get them to do more production, and I just think we need more of that.
Yeah, unfortunately, when I look at my stats, it's like 7% of women, unfortunately. And but I know I've had some messages from women that was telling me, like, thank you for being a figure in that space and helping. Yeah, I wish there would be more women in that space for sure.
Well, I hope this podcast will help because I am
Yeah,
a champion for women. I've been known for that for like over 20 years. So I
yeah,
mostly have women watching this. So hopefully you'll
that's
get more
great.
people checking you out on
Yeah, they
YouTube.
need to come in, and we need to change that stat a little bit to like 20% at least.
Yes. Yes. So when you started doing it on YouTube, you said that you did like it's more of like a watch you build, right? That
Yes.
kind of a mentality. How did you approach that? And was that like uncomfortable?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Like you can definitely tell. Also, for anyone listening or watching right now, if you guys want to go see, I still left my very first videos.
Mm.
I've never removed anything. I think until yesterday, I removed one video because I was like, it doesn't match what I want in the channel, but it was like one of the latest one.
Mm.
The earliest videos, I've never removed anything because I want people to see the evolution. Because people, might watch our channels, watch us right now and be like, oh, but yeah, but it looks so easy for you, like you're made to be on camera, you know how to be on camera. No, I wasn't. No, I wasn't. When I told my fiance or boyfriend at the time my idea, I told him, maybe, we're living at the in-laws. I think I should wait for us to have our house so that I can have my own studio. I don't really have gear either. I don't want people to listen to me. He's like, here's my camera. It's been taking dust on the shelf. Go ahead. Go film. You do it right now. Go film. All right.
Awesome.
And so, yeah, really, really grateful for him to push me to do that because it's, you're never ready. And so I started recording something and I was super awkward. Yeah, I was super awkward. I was not confident on camera. But, the reps went there. And I think at the beginning, I also just approached it like, let's see, let's just have fun and let's see. For sure, as of day one, I knew that I wanted it to potentially be the way I'm getting out of my 9 to 5. But I didn't put crazy expectations. I also knew that it was going to be hard, that not everyone makes it, like that. So I had expectations, but also no expectations. So I just wanted to see if I liked it. And
Mhm.
honestly, as soon as I started posting videos, I was like, I really like this. I really like this. Making the music
Cool.
as well as like, this is fun. I can do this for like a long time. This is really fun. So
Mm,
I just
that's
continued,
good.
and yeah, the build in public was just like, hey, I just learned. Basically, it was more like, hey, here's what I learned. Like, I just learned this. I'm at this stage at my journey. Here's what I learned. I'm giving it to you if you're just starting. Like, my idea was like, I may be one step ahead of someone that starts after me, and I want to be a resource for them. That's how I started, right? Because when
Hmm.
I started, I was checking out all of those big artist channels and checking their first videos, but not seeing any of those first videos. Like the first video was like, hey, I'm already so good and all, polished and so good. And I was like, how did you learn? Like, how were you before? And no one showed that side. So I decided I'm going to be that person that shows that side. So it's like, hey, here's where I'm at. Here's what I learned. Here's what it sound like. Here's what I'm struggling with as well. Like, I've shared my struggles a lot, which I think at the time it was like the early days of authenticity on social media,
Hmm.
which now is a big thing nowadays. But that's how I built my own thing. But I didn't know at the time. It's just I was like, you know what? I need some more authenticity on social media. I'll be that person.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, you got in
Yeah,
early on that
very
kind of
early. Yeah,
wave, because now it's like, okay, that's what I want to see, because otherwise
yeah,
it might be AI, you know?
yeah. Yeah, that's another topic for another
Yeah.
day.
I
Yeah.
know. I
But
know,
yeah, that
but
was that was the approach on YouTube.
I'm so glad that you kept those old videos. I certainly have my old podcasts there, and
Yeah.
anyone who wants to listen to them, they're not very good. So listen for a few minutes just to
Yeah.
get a taste. But I definitely, I had a lot less personality. I was very
Yeah.
even, you know what I mean? And
Very monotone or yeah.
yes,
Oh
yes,
yeah, man,
afraid
like
to say the
you.
wrong thing. Now it's like, okay, whatever. If I say the wrong thing, it's fine,
Oh yeah, I couldn't care less. I'll keep
Right.
it. I'll put it in the bloopers. It's great. Yeah, I stopped trying as well. Like many people were like correcting me on my English, and I was like, I don't care. I'm French. I
Right.
don't have a perfect English, so I'm gonna leave those mistakes in.
I think that's good. And obviously it makes you stand out. And I certainly think, we all have the things that we're not comfortable with, that we know we're different. Yours might be your accent. For me, it's that I have like a one eye that looks a little bit different because
Oh,
I'm
I
completely
haven't even
haired.
noticed until you
Right. So
pointed
the
it out.
glasses kind of hide it a little bit, but like, it's just like those things that
Yeah,
that
yeah,
someone on the
that
other
makes
end is
you.
going, what's up with that?
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
But we have to get over them.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so you were showing how you were building and all that. How did you kind of move from like I'm learning production into like I'm talking about mindset and starting to
Yeah.
like coach people?
Yeah, actually it's funny because when I was starting that channel, I had this idea of like, okay, which channel do I want to start? Do I want to start documenting this music journey I'm going to go on? Or do I want to do more like self-development thing, because I was a lot into self-development, learning, like
Mm,
starting to read way more books about that, about business, and then that's when I was like, I don't think I should separate them. I should
mhm,
just make both of them one so that I can stand out. I don't know, maybe I read that somewhere in a book or something, or I just came up with it myself. I don't remember. Now it's like standard practice, or at least that's what I teach. But yeah, it's just, it was an interest of mine. And in a sea of music production tutorials channels, I was like, I'm never going to stand out. Like, what do I have to bring about music production, right? Like, I just started. So that was my way to stand out and bring something different, to not just be a rehash of other channels, right? Otherwise, you just can't stand out and it's just not interesting for anyone.
I
And
think
plus,
that's
I just
really
wanted to
smart,
talk about that because that was an
because
interest of mine.
on other social media channels, I think people are doing that more, but at YouTube, it feels like you have to stay in your lane. And so I'm really curious, you know, how that worked for you. Like, are you finding some people are coming in going, I came for production. Why are you talking about this other stuff? Or is it just
No,
like
I've never
they
had that
like you,
actually.
you know?
I've never had that actually, because the thing is, I don't talk about self development as in like, a productivity kind of mindset. It's more like, here's how I bring self development into music, into my own music journey. It's like
Mm,
how I mix the both together. So like, I talk about it from the perspective of, someone that has a 9 to 5 job and still tries to make at least one track a week,
mm.
things like that, right? So I just mixed both of them together to make my own niche, really. And I think that's why it worked out. And very often it's just, at first you don't really know. You just throw things at the wall and see what sticks.
Yes.
But over time, you start hearing things from people, comments, conversations that you have with people, and they start to tell you why you stood out to them or why they love your stuff. And so over time, after, I don't know, like 3 years to maybe even 2 years, 2 to 3 years, I started to recognize that a lot of people were asking me questions as well about how to grow a YouTube channel or Instagram as a producer, as a composer, or, as a music artist. And so I started to pretty much say the same advice all the time because, it doesn't matter. It's the same thing, right? And then as I started to monetize, because I was like, okay, maybe I can get out of my 9 to 5 with this. So obviously, I tried multiple different things. I tried like an ebook, some templates. I tried vocal acapellas that failed miserably. I tried a Patreon, failed miserably as well. And then I did some one-on-one coaching sessions, because like people were asking me questions. So I was like, you know what, just like too many questions in the DMs, just book a call with me and we'll talk about it. And then in those sessions, at first, I started it as production tutorial, like coaching. But they started to come to me, and like 75%, 80% of people were coming to those sessions for social media growth, music business advice. And again, I started to repeat myself. And as I got the signals, what I repeated, I just put it on YouTube as videos. And I saw that those videos were taking more traction as well. And I started to realize that not a lot of people at this time were talking about business for music, artists, producers, composers, DJs that don't really want to go touring or live off of streams, but just want to make music for other people, be a sound engineer, be a mixing engineer, things like that, or do sample packs, right? And so I was like, okay, maybe that's my lane because I love talking about business stuff. It's in the music industry, which I love as well. I still make music. It was just a good, it's working on YouTube. People ask me for it. It was just like all the signals were pointing to this. So naturally, I was like, all right, you want music business? I'll give you music business. And then one thing led to another where after repeating myself on one-on-one coaching sessions, I was like, all right, let's put this into an online course, which then became Music Creator, what it is today. Started as like cohorts because I wanted to do this at first, but now it's just like an ongoing 12-month mentorship because it doesn't take 2 months to build a music business. But yeah, and so that's how it happened. I think very often it's what I saw in my students. It's like they want to have it all figured out as day one. They can't start until their offer is perfect. They know exactly where they're going to get their clients. They know exactly what they're going to say. They have a sales page. And I'm like, no. Start putting content, get the signals, get the feedback, then you package something.
Yep. There's no point in working so hard on an offer if you don't know if it's going to land with.
Yeah, exactly. So many times I see some students coming to me and they're like, yeah, I made this product or, this sample pack or this course, this masterclass, and it's been 6 months and I can't sell it. And I'm like, yeah, you haven't validated it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So first of all, I wanted to ask you, when your original idea of YouTube, was your idea you were going to monetize from YouTube, like, make money through YouTube, or were you thinking you were going to eventually do like coaching or a course or something?
Oh no, I thought actually at first I thought it was going to be more like AdSense, and then it's like, nope, 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 not at all. Start again. Yeah, no, AdSense is, if you don't have like 100,000 of views on each videos and subscribers, it's nothing. With the channel I have right now, I have like $150 every month from YouTube, so it's nothing. So yeah, no, sponsorships was in my head as well. Like I really wanted to work with brands, which I've done in the past. But then as this thing, that's the thing, it's like nothing was really meditated, if that's the word.
Yes.
It just happened this way, right? I tested things. I threw a lot of things at the wall, aka the YouTube algorithm, and saw what worked, saw what people told me, just adapted, saw what I liked as well, and just mixed those two together, and it became Music Creator, which, I definitely didn't plan on becoming a mentor, but I'm not surprised because I always liked teaching, like sharing my knowledge. I know when I was in school, I was always the one helping others, or if there was any, for example, on tennis, if they needed people to do a workshop for people on the weekend, they would call me up, and I was like, yeah, absolutely, I'll come and help, teach tennis. Like, I always liked sharing my knowledge, and I think that's because my mom is the exact same. She loves that. And so, yeah, I think when, I think it was in 2020 during the pandemic, I read that book, what was it? Millionaire Habits or something like this, by Dean Graziosi.
Mm-hmm.
And he has that 7 levels deep exercise in there about like figuring out your why, like your purpose. And that's how I figured out that my purpose in life is like, I hate to be useless. I want to be helpful for people. I want to be useful. And so this for me is perfect because I literally help people, like, music producers, like, quit their 9-to-5 job so they can make music full time, which is amazing. Like, every time a student tell me, they got a new client or they're quitting their jobs, I'm so happy. I mean, it makes me feel very fulfilled, like I had a real positive change in someone's life. And so, yeah, it just all made sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's really cool because I think that's the best way to grow a business, and that's kind of how mine happened, very organically with women of substance, and then people asking questions, just like you said. And
Exactly.
I think the biggest thing that we were willing to do that a lot of people aren't is to test. And I always
Yeah.
talk to people about like, hey, nobody's going to know that this test didn't go well except
I
you.
know. Yeah. So often. And I'm like, I very often ask them as well. I'm like, what are you afraid is going to happen? And I'm like, oh, they'll think I suck. And it's like, you're the only one seeing the stats in the back end. They won't
Hmm.
know.
Yeah, I mean, like if you put a video out there and it doesn't go well, let's say, well, no one saw it anyway. That's the whole point. Stats are bad because no one saw it. So,
That's true. That's very true. That's very true. Yeah, it's just the
it's
society,
fun.
we're so used to like being graded as a number, right? Like how well did you do as a number, right? But it's not how it works
No,
in real life.
no, not at all.
Yeah.
So I know that one of the things that you talk about is helping musicians get high ticket clients. So maybe you can
Yeah.
talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. What do you want to know exactly? Like about like how it
Like, well, I
works,
think
or
most musicians will think, oh, no one's gonna, most musicians don't have any money, so why would they pay me?
yeah, I mean, that's one of the limiting beliefs that I hear
Yes.
all the time about this. Yeah, every single day. But yeah, no, it's just you have to know where to look, and if you use the right language in your content, it's gonna attract the right people. I took some YouTube course back in the beginning where the guy said attract the best, repel the rest, and it always stayed with me. Like there's a reason
Mm.
why I talk about music creators, and there's a reason why I talk about 9 to 5, right? Because that's the people that I want to attract, not anyone else. And so, for example, like I think the premise of this is like, I'm not made for touring. I fall asleep at 9 p.m. It's not for me to be on stage. It's way better on the camera. I'm way less shy, you know? Because, 44K on YouTube, if you put that on a stadium, I can't say the words I want to say because it's swearing, but like I'm gonna pass out, right? So I'm just not made for it. I know, when you have to like perform, you have to kind of like become someone else. Like it's not for me, and you can't also, just making a living of like streams and royalties is just it's impossible. Like it's not impossible, but it's just like it's not what I want to do. It's not the fastest way to get there. And so I did notice that there was a lot of people like me that just want to make music from the comfort of their bedroom for other people, so there's, sound engineers that likes to make sample and preset packs for brands or for people, directly to producers. There's lots of, beat makers, producers that do ghost production or custom song services. There anyone, composers that can make wedding custom songs, right? And then you have also music educators that wants to share their knowledge, like we have like bass guitar teachers, vocal teachers, right? Like all of those people, they're like maybe invisible in the music industry, but you still need a lot of those people. And so I just wanted to spread the word that there is an opportunity for people that don't want to do gigs, touring, or streaming, right? You can still make a living from your music passion from the comfort of your own bedroom. And so, yeah, this is where it all came. And then I just got a lot into this. And then my idea is just, you make content to attract the right client for you, depending on exactly who you want to serve. And then you have conversations with them because it's a social media. So you have to be social, have conversations. And then in the DMs, in the emails, you just sell your offer to them if it's a fit, like it's just networking, but on social media and DMs.
Yeah.
Like instead of going to an event that is networking and you're like, oh yeah, man, like I'm a session musician for producers. Like, if you struggle with your guitars, like just send me an email here. We can make something work together. Instead of that happening in real life, it happens on social media. It's like you see someone on social media that showcase their skills, and you make, you have conversation with those people that engage with you, and you say like, hey, from what you've told me, like I can help you. I'm a session guitarist. Like I can help you, make better guitars for your tracks. Are you interested? And if they say yes, then you pitch your offer, your service, get clients this way, and keep repeating.
Yep. Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah, I love that. And I'm assuming you also find artists that come to you that are like done, like tired of touring and wanting to do something.
Oh yeah. Actually, there are some people like this where they're done. They've done their touring for like you, like 15 years, 20 years or something like this. And they're like, you know what? I'm ready to more, change my lifestyle and have something a bit more, stable in terms of location mostly and energy, I guess. And they're like, yeah, so now, I want to package this into, a teaching, a service or whatever it is that they want to do. Very often it's either like a coaching mentorship or a digital product or a service. So.
Got it. That makes total sense. And I love that you're serving that group of people. Like I serve more artists that are, they do want to perform and because that's kind of how I am. I don't want to tour, but I like to perform, so we're finding ways that they can still perform.
Yeah.
And not like burn yourself out.
Yeah. But see, like that's exactly this. It's like you have a very specific target. Like that's your target audience. Mm-hmm. Mine is what I just said. And so anyone else can be, as long as you know who you're trying to attract, then you can make the content to attract them. It's like, a magnet. Like it's like making flyers before for your gigs. Now the flyers are reels or shorts, videos, right? It's literally the same idea, but it's on social media.
So you focus on more social media. You wouldn't say, oh, like if someone came to you and said, I hate social media, I'll
say, sorry, we're not for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I say this almost every single week.
Which is fun. Send them to me because I love to work with people that hate social media because I tend to attract
absolutely.
Those people.
Yeah, and that's funny because like again, everyone does a different thing a different way for a different person, and that's how you can attract the best person for you because then you can give the best results. But for me, I'm very upfront. Like for me, it's like you're gonna have to make content. If you don't want to make, because like it's like it's kind of like either you go content or networking or paid ads, right? I didn't do paid ads because I didn't want to invest the money. I wanted to invest my time. So I made content, right? Because for me, it's like free advertisement. But I have another friend, another music creator, Lee Litvin. He does pretty much the same as me, but not through content, through paid ads. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Same kind of like outcome, but different. Yeah, it's about what do you prefer to do? That's all. And again, like, there's no like right or wrong answer. It's just what works best for you. What do you want? Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that, some bigger people in this space, they say that their thing will help everyone. And I disagree with that. And so I find that some people get into those programs and then they're like, this doesn't really apply to me.
Yeah, I agree with you because the thing is, I've heard a couple things like this because like when you're not really upfront, then you just attract, a lot of people, but then not a lot of them get results. And personally, it makes me feel so bad. Like I feel like an imposter, all my students needs to get results. Otherwise I feel so bad. So
Yeah,
yeah, I need to make sure that they know they're gonna have to make content.
yep. No, 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 that's really good. And as consumers, those of you listening, like you need to think that way too. Like know that you're probably if you're a 60-year-old woman, you're not going to get good results by taking a course from a 20-year-old rapper.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
I have heard this that happened to people I know, and I'm like, why did you choose that? That
Yeah,
makes
that's
no
very
sense.
interesting. That's
Maybe
very
because you just
interesting why they
didn't
chose.
find me or you or whatever they needed,
Yeah,
you
on
know?
time. Yeah, I know. Sometimes I have some people actually very often. I talk to some people and they're like, "Yeah, I've been burned by someone before where it didn't work," and I'm like, "Shit, I hate
Yep,
those people that
I
just don't
know.
deliver and then they take
But it's
us
all
with
look bad.
them."
Yeah.
Whereas no, like I'm gonna be with you 24/7. I'm gonna move your butt for you to get your results. And yeah, but I get it as well, right? Like unfortunately, every good thing attracts like scammers. There's some
Hmm.
bad people, and yeah, so that's why I also want to do the content because I feel like it's a good way to build trust and like for
Yeah.
people to spend time with you and get to know you. At least I'm very transparent. I'm always very authentic and um, yeah, trying to show them like, hey, just me. And then when people come up on a call after with me, they're like, you're exactly the same as in your videos. I'm like,
Exactly.
yeah, thanks.
Yep. That's the goal. That's the
Yeah,
goal.
that's
We
the
are on the
goal.
same page there for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I know after listening to this that people are gonna want to go check out your YouTube channel. So can you tell them how to find it?
Yeah, it's PLV in all caps, just the letters PLV music, or music by PLV also works on Instagram. But yeah, that's it. And if you are listening and you're interested in learning about this, because you think it might be a great path for you, then I have a free email course, like 14-day email course that takes you from like a step by step to land your first high ticket paying client online. And you just need to message me the word 14, the number 14 on Instagram, and it'll send it to you automatically. Or maybe we'll have a link for it in the description. But yeah,
Yeah, perfect.
it'll
And
give
what's your
you
Instagram
a
handle?
great music by PLV.
Got it. Same thing.
Yeah. And yeah, and if they want, more resources, I have a free school community as well, which we can same if they say school like SKOOL on Instagram, it'll send them the link automatically. So yeah, there's lots of resources. Like people in the free community have been like getting their first clients
Mm,
through those resources. So yeah, if you're interested,
that's awesome.
take
Yeah,
those
you guys check it
resources
out
and do it.
and go subscribe to her YouTube channel. I'm actually going to be on later
Yep,
when we do our episode
next
together.
week.
So,
Yep,
yes.
that'll be my turn.
Yay. Awesome. Well, thank
Very
you so
excited.
much. You guys
Yeah,
check
thank
her
you.
out on all the places and grab her thing, DM her, and see how it all works in action. It's always great to like kind of see how the sausage is made,
Yeah.
by going through what we call a funnel and
Yep.
see what it's like, and then
Funnel
oh, I can do
hacking.
this too.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for having me. And yeah, I hope it was helpful for a few listeners out there.
Absolutely. Thanks so much.